Hi, I'm Kyle Young. I'm with the Microsoft Dynamics AX product team. We're very excited about Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012 and some of the great new features that we are sending your way. I want to take you through some of those features. Particularly, I want to take you through the employee self-service experience of ordering products. This experience begins at the Employee Self-Services portal. This portal is available to be used by any employee in the company to do self-service functions that they need to do, and they get back to doing their job. Let's go take a look at Order Products. Order Products provides a completely flexible experience so that you can make available products and services that are relevant for your employees, and you can even have a different set of products or services based on where they sit in the organization. So if I go to the Order Products experience, I can see here that I have a number of navigational categories. So for example, I can take a look at computers, and I can look at the software that's available for employees of the company. Here you can see that I have a set of really fine software available for employees of the company from which they can choose. I can also take a look at other categories like workplace services or even office furniture. And since this is a very flexible experience, you can expose a number of different capabilities to employees. So let's do the following. I also want to show you the search capability. So for example, I could say that I want to search on a certain piece of software. I could simply just say Office as an example and find out everything that comes up under Office. So as you can see, I have a number of good results here, like Office Home and Business or Office Home and Student. I also found something I was surprised to find, that actually lock repair. So if I lock myself out of my office, which could happen very occasionally, I can also find that as well. What I was really interested in is Office Home and Business, and so I'm going to add that to my cart. The other thing I need to do is to order a monitor. And so I'm going to navigate to Computers, Components section, and take a look at what we have there. Now in this case, instead of a list of products, my company has a partnership with Zones, and so I can actually go out to the Zones website just by clicking here on their logo. I'm now transitioned to the Zones website, and I can navigate through the available items in Zones. So if I look at monitors and accessories, I see a monitor here that looks like that will meet my needs, and so I'm going to simply add that to my cart. I go to my shopping cart, still here on the Zones site, and then I go ahead and check out. Now, when I check out, instead of going through the Zones checkout process, as you might expect, I'm actually transferred right back into my Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012 Order Products experience. And you can see now here that I actually have that monitor that ends up right back in my shopping cart here, so that I can do my normal process within my Order Products experience. So from this point forward, I'm able to look at the monitor which I have and the Microsoft Home and Business 2010, and I can just go ahead and check out. So I click on Order. This takes the items that I've selected from my shopping cart, and now it's going to create an order for those items. I simply need to give a reason, like general supplies, and then click Next in the wizard. Okay, now that I've gone through the wizard, you can see that I've got these items in my here as line items, and I simply need to submit. When I submit these items, then they will go to form a purchase requisition that will now be available for going through the approval process and going through the completing the order process. So at this point now I have completed my order, so I'll just click Close. And now I've simply created a purchase requisition by going through a very familiar shopping experience. It is part of the Order Products capability in Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012. I'm going to play the role of the manager whose employee has just created an order that resulted in a purchase requisition. I need to approve that purchase requisition. So again, I can go to the Employee Services portal experience. I can select on Approvals. And once I select on Approvals, then I'm then given a list of various options here of things that I can approve. So I can look down the list. Here I see on the list the purchase requisition that I had previously discussed with my employee. I can take an action here to approve that purchase requisition. I will approve it per previous discussion, since I know what my employee is ordering, and I simply click Approve. Now that I've approved that, this will go through the workflow process. It will change now to an approved purchase requisition and continue on now through the process to become a purchase order. And that will actually be sent to the vendor, and then the supplies or goods and services will be sent to the employee who ordered those items. Now that you've seen how an employee can place an order and a manager can approve an order through the self-service experience, I want to take you behind the scenes and see some of the things that were actually in action there. One of the things that was in action was the policy behind the purchase requisitions. So purchase requisition has a number of different policies that can be applied. For example, the control rule can be applied. Let's just take a look at what the control rule would look like. The control rule allows the administrator or the person from the purchasing organization to specify different fields that are required on a purchase requisition. So in this case, it was necessary to apply or to provide a reason because that was one of the fields that was required by policy. Now, that can apply to any number of fields, as you can see on a purchase requisition. Now, this rule can actually apply to different parts of the organization, and so you can actually have different rules that apply to different parts of the organization. In this case, I had this single rule that applied to the part of the organization in which the employee was participating. And so that's policy in action. Another thing that was behind the scenes that was in action was workflow. So if I go to my workflow relating to my purchase requisition, I can open up that workflow, and we'll actually see the workflow experience. This is the graphical based workflow experience. In this case, what's happening here is I have the start of the workflow process for a purchase requisition. As part of that process, I have an approval step that actually, in this case, routed to the manager of the employee that was placing the purchase requisition, and then after that approval, that ends the process. So a very simple workflow. Now the workflows can actually be much more complicated and can be adapted to model the processes of your organization. But again, that's just one of the other behind the scenes features as a part of the purchase requisition. Now if I wanted to take a look at what that purchase requisition would look like for a purchasing professional, again I can simply take a look at all the purchase requisitions that are relevant. I could scroll down, and I actually see that purchase requisition right here that was just created. And if I were a purchasing professional and needed to review this purchase requisition or take further action, I would simply be able to see the list of purchase requisitions that have been both created and, in this case, as you can see, approved. That's, again, another behind-the-scenes functionality that's happening here as part of Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012 and is a key component of our capabilities for end users to order products and managers to approve products and purchasing professionals to be able to complete and move purchase requisitions onto purchase orders, all a part of Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012 supplier relationship management capabilities. Now that we have an approved purchase requisition, which has been approved by the manager, it's now in a state that the purchasing professional can review the purchase requisition and create a purchase order. So let's take a look at the purchase requisition itself. You can see the header and the lines of the requisition. Now the purchasing professional can take a look to make sure that things are correct here in terms of vendors and so forth. The purchasing agent can look at the details of the requisition and make sure that everything's in order. So let's say that this one's good to go, and so this one is ready now to be created and moved forward as a purchase order. So we now go to the Release Approved Purchase Requisitions form, and now we see a list of requisition lines that are ready to be moved to a purchase order. So we can take a look at those lines, see that they are now ready to go, see the information for each line, and independently create a purchase order. So this first line can be selected. The purchasing agent can then simply say, create a new purchase order, and shortly thereafter a purchase order will be created. So as you can see now, we get a message that that purchase order, number 407, has been created for that purchase requisition line. So let's take a look at what that purchase order entails. So if we take a look at all purchase orders, we'll now see that newly created purchase order, number 407, the one we just simply created. We can see that the vendor is set, we can see the items, and now you can see that it's simply an open order. Now, the purchasing professional at this point needs to change that from being approved to a confirmed purchase order. So it simply goes to the action pane, clicks on confirm, and now that this changes to a confirmed state, it will be available and ready to send out to a vendor. So once that's confirmed, the vendor will have this purchase order available to be sent, and it can be either sent to the vendor or it can be viewed by the vendor at the vendor portal. And so the vendor has a self-service opportunity to actually view purchase orders that have been sent their direction and have been confirmed and are ready to be fulfilled. Now you can see that that has changed to a confirmed state, and it's all ready to go to the vendor. So that helps to complete this first part of the process of an employee ordering a product, a manager approving a product, the purchasing agent reviewing that purchase requisition, turning it over into a purchase order, and then confirming that purchase order, which then gets sent to the vendor. So that shows you the first part of the process, basically through the supplier relationship capabilities of Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012. So we've taken you through the steps of an employee who orders a product at the Employee Services portal, creates a purchase requisition. The purchase requisition is then approved by the employee's manager. Once it's approved, we saw the purchasing agent review the purchase requisition and then take one of the lines of the purchase requisition and create a purchase order. We then saw the purchasing agent confirm the purchase order that's now available to be sent to the vendor. We also went behind the scenes to see policy in action around purchasing and also the workflow process that underlied the purchase requisition approval process. These are all key capabilities of the supplier relationship management functions that are available in Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012.